Now that we've got Mongo set up, we're ready to move on to working with some code. The first thing that we're going to talk about is a little bit of a precursor topic to working on anything really very specific on Mongo. The topic that we're going to talk about is a little bit of ES6 review, specifically around promises. Promises are extremely important to have a very good solid grasp of whenever working with Mongo, because promises represent the number one way in which we will interact with the Mongo database. So in this section, we're going to do a little bit of a review on promises just to make sure that we're both on the same page around their syntax and exactly how they work. To do so, we're going to make a tiny little game out of an HTML document. And inside that game, we'll kind of experiment around with promises a little bit and just get a good sense of how they're put together. Okay, so that's our goal. I know that I said we are going to put together an HTML game. Yes, this is of course all about working with servers and databases and stuff like that, but it just so happens that making something inside of a web browser like an HTML document really helps to reinforce exactly how promises work. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is go to a convenient workspace directory on my desktop. So I'm inside this directory called promises. Totally a-okay place to make a new file where we can experiment around with it. Once I'm here, I'm going to open up my code editor inside this directory. So for me, I have the Atom code editor installed. Because I have that installed, I'm able to run Atom dot right here. If you are not using Atom, or if you're using any other type of code editor, totally a-okay, totally fine. You're gonna be just fine throughout this entire course. All you have to do right now is just start up your code editor. Once I have my code editor open, I'm gonna make a new file inside of this directory, and I'm gonna call it index.html. Again, all we're going to do inside of here is write a little bit of HTML and JavaScript code to experiment a little bit with promises. Now inside this new file that I just created, I'm going to create a head tag, a body tag, and then inside the body tag, I'll add a button that says click. And then inside of a script tag a little bit lower, I'm going to add in a console log of game is starting. Okay, so we've got just a raw HTML document right now. I'm going to open up this document and make sure that it all works inside of my browser. So I'm going to open up the HTML document. That opens up a new Chrome tab. I've got a click button very prominently displayed right there. I'm going to zoom in a whole bunch just to make sure it's nice and legible. And I'm also going to open up my terminal as well. You can open up the Chrome console by right-clicking anywhere and clicking on the Inspect button on here, so the Inspect option. And then you can select the Console tab on here, and I should see now game is starting on the right-hand side. Okay, so I'm sure that right now you're sitting here thinking, Stephen, how is this going to lead to promises? Well, I guarantee you it is. Let's take a quick break now that we've done a little bit of setup here. Come back in the next section and talk about exactly how we're going to make a game using promises. So I'll see you in just a second.